Muzzie, it's a pleasure having you in South Africa. And I am so positive that you are going to be excited with everything else that we offer here. Welcome to Motherland.
TJ, it's an absolute pleasure to be here. Thank you so much for the invitation. Really appreciate it. And I'm really looking forward to what we've got planned for today. So I'll just get straight into it. As many of you guys, or as you, TJ, are aware, I am based in the UK. I'm a property investor in the UK. Majority of the strategies that we run are based there. And we also have a community of people that side who are doing exactly the same thing that we're doing as well. However, we're looking to actually venture out and invest in other countries, South Africa being one of the ones that we're concerned or interested in more like. So could you actually give me a bit of information on how that would work? If I were to invest in South Africa, what does that look like? And potentially, how can you help?
Well, Moses, thanks for this question, man. I think what is to understand is that if you're coming into South Africa and you are wanting to invest, particularly if you're sitting in London or anywhere else overseas, what we want to understand is, number one, how are you buying? Are you buying cash? Because that's generally seamless. You identify the property or the opportunity, and then the rest of the ecosystems, attorneys and things like that, they can fall in place. And if you're buying with a bond, obviously, we now need to look into, in terms of the banking system, how does the bank view you as an individual? Are you a company that's expanding into South Africa? Are you an individual? So there's a bit of complexities there. But I think the starting point, Muzzie, is always to see the opportunities. What are the opportunities? We started off the website Invest in South Africa Property.coza. And this particular website, I want to call it, it's a bespoke website that only deals with investors. So if you are looking for an investment in South Africa, this is your first stop. We used to do what we call, actually, every Wednesday on the TJ Tribe YouTube channel, we've got what we call Wednesday Deal Day. And every Wednesday there, at the top of the hour, 7 o'clock South African time, there's an opportunity for anybody, anyway, to see a good, lucrative opportunity. So you're just being a stand-buyer at that time, right? And you are watching from the side. But the moment that you are now ready, you can jump onto the website, which is investinsaproperty.coza. And with there, you can register. We will then be able to reach out to you to verify that obviously you're a person on the other side. We started off putting up this website specifically for the reasons that when we started off as investors ourselves, there were not so many opportunities that were available. I would call it at a click, like what we now have with Invest in SA. We would go out there, create relationships with so many people, and this has been able to give us the edge right now, because we can be able to make all these opportunities available in investinsaproperty.coza. So coming back to when I started off investing in real estate, there was a whole lot of properties that you would want to go through, vetting them, doing site visits, getting a builder on site. So investing in saproperty.co.za, it takes away all of that from you as the buyer, and you get deals that are ready. You get deals that myself as an investor, I would buy. So that's your first stop, right? And those deals that we have listed there, they are vetted. And for anybody else who's got the cash, irrespective of where you are, you can be able to grab that. So that's the first thing, Muzzie. But obviously, I'm going to show you one of our deals, actually, that we have closed not so long ago. When we go to Poch, where we've got this deal, you'll be able to see that this client, he was not even anywhere close to the deal, but he saw the deal on our website. He was ready. We were able to vet him. We vetted the deal, and we matched the two. And bingo, part of our ecosystem is where we've got relationships. We will introduce you to our friends at Productive Realty, and they manage all of our properties that are non-students. So when the offering comes of the property, somebody who's sitting in London doesn't need to worry about, oh, how am I going to buy it? Because we can facilitate that. And they don't need to worry about how am I going to manage that, because we can facilitate that process as well. And speaking of student accommodation, our friends at My Student House, they are also able to manage the property. Actually, they manage from the time the property is not even converted from student accommodation all the way to getting it accredited, all the way to get it ready so that the students can move in. So, Muzzie, in a nutshell, this is where I want to say the TJ Tribe, in association with Invest in SA Property.co.za, and also bringing in Productive Realty together with My Student House. It's a full ecosystem platform that is trusted with many investors abroad. You can come in and you can plug in, and all you need to do is to facilitate the sale, which is the buying on your side, and then thereafter you just see money coming in, and all the work is done on our side. I hope that's been able to give you an insight of our ecosystem, Muzzie, and I'm excited of this. Thank you, man. Cheers.
That's brilliant. Thank you very much, TJ. Really appreciate you sharing that information. It's really good to know that there are some people that are on the other side of the world, as so to speak, in South Africa, who can actually help with some of this information. And just listening to what you're talking about now, it sounds like you are experienced and you know what it is that you're talking about in terms of real estate and property. I genuinely am looking forward to seeing the projects where we're about to go now. So should we get going? Brilliant. Thank you very much, TJ, for inviting us to this property. So we've always been wondering, really, why are you always talking about student accommodation?
Yeah, so Muzzie, I think the biggest challenge that we've got, which I think a lot of people don't see, is that Africa is an emerging economy, and there's lots of students now that are going into university.
Yeah.
I think if we were to talk about our age group, you'd appreciate that if you had passed your high school, it was okay for you to go into the workplace.
Yeah.
Of late now, if you've passed high school, you're probably not going to fit in the workplace.
Okay.
If you got a degree, you are likely going to fit in the workplace, but it's not guaranteed as well, right?
Right.
So for that reason, I think we are seeing more and more families gravitating into the idea of going into the university, sending their kids into the universities. But also the governments in Africa, particularly in South Africa now, there's lots of programs that are supporting high school leavers, those that are doing well, to go into the university. So in South Africa alone, we have quite a number of universities that are either coming up, and the traditional ones also. I want to call it, they're failing to produce housing for their current students at the moment.
Okay.
So obviously with that, I think at the moment there's a floating number that's saying within the last 3 to 5 years, there's about a 500,000 shortage for student accommodation.
500,000 shortage.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's not even with the new universities that are coming up.
Oh, right.
If we are meeting for the first time, my name is TJ, your host, and I'm a former banker and founder here at the TJ Tribe. And I do business with a focus in student accommodation, flips, which is buy and sell, and coaching, with the hope that all of us, as young, upcoming modern parents, we can be able to have passive income from real estate. Welcome to the channel. So obviously from a government perspective, the government is always doing what they can,
right?
But they're like a tortoise in terms of developing.
Takes
the budgeting and all of those things take time. But on the ground, the student wants accommodation now.
Of course.
And we have seen in the newspapers, there have been so many news articles of shortages of student accommodation. So obviously from an entrepreneur perspective, a great teacher of mine says to me, if you're not solving a problem, you can't make money.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
So student accommodation for us is, at the moment, from a real estate perspective, that's where the money is.
Right.
Is it going to be like that within the next 5, 10, 20 years? I don't know.
Yeah.
But at the moment, when we look at real estate and all the other strategies that you can think about, student accommodation it's unique.
Yeah.
And it's not also for everybody. And it's available. We can turn a house like this one traditionally into a student housing.
Right.
And you can place around about anything from 20 to 25 students on a place.
Yes.
And that's something that we have done.
That's brilliant. Appreciate that. So what you're saying is there's a high demand of students in this area, or
Right.
essentially in the country, because there's a shortfall with the amount of students that are actually moving up in further education. That sounds like a
100%.
good problem. So for your business, really, in terms of accommodation, that presents an opportunity, which brings me to this property that you took us to.
Yeah.
So are you okay to just tell us about where we are, what this property is about, what you found it as, what you did to it, and what that looks like now?
Yeah, 100%.
Hmm.
So we are in an area that is called Northwest.
Okay.
And I don't want to center the opportunities for Northwest because I think that Northwest is great, but the opportunities are almost everywhere.
Right.
So I'm going to frame it in a way that, if anyone is thinking about this and then they can do it, what do they need to be looking out for?
Okay.
And obviously, I'll speak in relation to what we have done here. So it's a template,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So, for instance, we are literally 2 kilometers away from the Northwest University.
Right. Okay.
So proximity to your learning institution is fundamental.
Yeah.
If you're going to be able to have student accommodation.
Of course.
So number one, the university is very close by, and we looked into the area. And traditionally, the areas in South Africa that comes with the university, they don't have these big blocks of flats.
Okay.
They have houses like these ones.
Yeah.
So you kind of like need to work with what you've got. So for me, with my team, we then discovered, okay, great. So if there's houses like these ones, what do you need to do? So the first thing that you need to do is obviously to buy them,
Of course.
right? And buying could be buying cash. We are big fond of utilizing the bank's money
Of course.
and
Yeah.
a bit of your own cash because we don't have those deep pockets, right? So the banks will fund these properties for us. And from funding it, the next thing is obviously you now need to, I call it to convert the property.
Right.
Because traditionally, these properties do not come set up for student accommodation.
Accommodation,
Right?
yes. Yeah.
They're set up for families. But these are your old big houses. You could be talking about close to 200 squares.
Yeah.
And you're still sitting on 1,000 squares of land.
Of land, yes.
Right. So for that reason, you now need to put in a bit of cash on the property itself from a conversion perspective, because you're going to add more toilets, more bathing rooms.
Of course. Yeah.
A bit of a bigger kitchen is required, and all of those things. So I'm going to say, first prize, wherever you have an institution, within the radius of the institution, you're going to make some good money. But also, you need it to be appealing to the students. So what are you going to do? We've been privileged in South Africa. So most of our students in South Africa, they are bursary.
Okay.
And this is government bursaries, private bursaries, and of late there's what they are now calling norms and standards.
Right.
And if you are going to have students and within your property, there is going to be students that are going to be bursaried. Now you need to follow the norms and standards.
Of course.
So you can't just be like, I'll do it this way. It doesn't really know. But remember, it's also a product that you're putting out in the market. So how unique do you want it? So some of our buildings, we have girls only, some of it's mixed, some it's boys only. And it just depends. Some it's also attractive for just first years. Some it's attractive for only third years to fourth years. So it really depends on what we're going to do. So coming back to this particular property, it was on the market for, I think it was around about 2.5 million at the time. And eventually we got it for 2.2 million.
Okay.
A client of ours actually bought it off from our platform. And we had worked on the deal for a couple of months. And obviously, we put it onto our platform. And this client of ours reached out to us, says he's ready. He's got his bond approval. And we said, okay, great. And we then passed on the deal to him. And he eventually got the bond for 2.2 million.
Okay.
And he got it 100%.
100% purchased,
Yeah. So on 2.2 million, an additional 700 is an amount that he had to leave on the property. Now, this 700 that I'm talking about, it includes legal fees, renovations, and furniture as well. So remember, the place is empty, so you now need to gear it up correctly for
the students that are coming in.
100%. And then with that, this particular property, he had to put in some solar on it for backup. There's also a backup of water on the property. And then there's security. Security is a big thing here. That takes up a bit of chunk of that 700 that we spoke about. And within that, this particular property is having 25 students.
25 students in this property here.
100%. And within those 25 students, here we're working with a particular bursary that pays at 4,500. So if you're looking at 4,500 times 25, that's a good gross income.
So it's 4,500 Rand per student.
Per student.
And you've got 25 students in this property.
100%.
Right. Okay.
I think what is also very important is that you can't just go and chuck in 25 students. There's a compliance to it. And I think that's where the gray area for many people, they may not understand. So in South Africa, we've got what is called the land use. Right. In many countries, land use is a big thing. So traditionally, a property like this one would be what is termed as Zone 1. So Zone 1 is residential. You have families, that's what it's built for. However, the moment you are now wanting to put in students, one now needs to go and work with the town planner, and you change the land use.
Changing the land use from the residential to the students.
100%. And then the municipality will give you that process called rezoning your property. So it was zoned already as one, but now you're rezoning it, right? And that costs a bit of money as well. And that money is part of that 700 that we spoke about. And basically, this client, we helped them through that whole process and with the conversion as well. And in conclusion of that, we were then able to place the students, and they're being managed with our team members from My Student House. Hey, my friends, I apologize that I had to break this conversation, hot conversation that we're talking about. But I thought, let me come through and let's talk about student accommodation. If you're in the student accommodation space and you are investing in that or thinking of investing that, and you are thinking, how am I going to manage this? Is it possible actually to just do it and I can just see my portfolio grow? My good friends, I want to bring you a company that is called My Student House. My Student House has been around for a while. They are currently managing over 2,000 beds across the country, particularly in the areas of Bloemfontein, Cape Town, Port Elizabeth, Potchefstroom, and also in Gauteng. So if you're in the student accommodation space, or you're thinking of going into student accommodation space, and you're not so sure who's going to be able to manage you, the company My Student House, they will be able to manage this for you, and you can then be able to invest without any hassles of managing. So they will do the placement for you. In some cases, they can even do the project for you. Maybe there's a bit of renovation that is needed on the property. And above that, they will manage the whole property and report to you frequently so that you know what is happening on your property. So how do you get a hold of them? This is the email address that you can drop into, and we will be in touch here at the TJ Tribe and helping you on your journey of student accommodation with My Student House.
That is fantastic. So this essentially shares information about how you can actually purchase it, leverage funds from the banks, and actually leave a certain amount of money. And in this particular property, you're talking about 700,000 that was left. But the returns on that, based on the bursaries, are 4.5 per student. At 25 students in here, the returns are pretty quick, aren't they?
Yes. So the returns are great. I think for this particular property that we're talking about, the net that, people always ask me this question. So, teacher, how much money am I going to make? I see how much money you can be making for the gross income, but I always say to people, but what's your net income, the money that you're going to put in your backside? On the first year on this project, our client was banking around about 25,000 rand every month, right?
Right.
Now, it's also very important that to note that on these properties for student accommodation, our year calendar is not the whole year for 12 months. It's 10 months because students come to school for 10 months.
Right.
So you're getting this 4,500 for the next 10 months. This client of ours has owned this property for the last 3 years now. So that has also increased. The rent has increased.
Yeah.
So it's just shy about 30 grand on this property that is bank on a month on month.
Fantastic. I think that's brilliant. So the rent has increased, and
Yeah.
equally because they've owned it for so long, the capital appreciation as well goes up.
100%.
So you actually get paid twice. So in conclusion, for this particular property, what would you say to someone who's considering actually investing in something like this?
So you speak of appreciation. The moment that this property is rezoned into a different category,
Yeah.
they're buying this property at around about 2.2. That property, the moment that rezoning kicks in, the value of this baby is around about at 5 million.
Was what would you say to someone who's considering investing in a property like this?
Okay. And then number two, to answer your question in terms of anyone else who's anywhere out there who's wanting to invest in a property like this one, is I think finding the right team members that can help you to do it. We've been doing this for a while. We know where the hot spots are. And we know where some of the universities are paying and where some of the other challenges, because a lot of people are going to be like, TJ, we know they don't pay. But these are the businesses that are out there making it. So how are they doing it? So obviously there's an art to it.
Yeah.
So finding the right team members is always important. That's number one. Number two, finding the right property.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So it might be maybe 2 kilometers away from the university, but actually it's 7 kilometers away from the gate.
Right.
That changes everything. Okay. Right. So how close are you from the learning of the institution? And then thirdly, do you qualify or do you have the cash at hand? Locally here, we get paid on quarterly basis.
Right.
So do you have the bandwidth? Let's assume you buy this property in the month of July. So now it registers, let's say in December. Do you have the bond repayments between December and your next payment when it comes in?
Yes.
And that's where I see a lot of people now. I've been buying quite a few properties from other people who are distressed when they cannot pay for that.
Yeah.
And they get in trouble. So for anybody who's out there, it's very practical to buy such kind of properties like these ones.
Okay.
The management team that we use is called My Student House.
Yeah.
And these guys have been amazing. They are in 5 cities. Within those 5 cities, they're just managing just over 2,000 beds. So they are seasoned. They've been able to do this for us, for this client of ours, and some of our portfolio that I also own. So they find opportunities, they
manage
convert,
them.
they accredit, they manage, and it's an armchair investment, if we might call it that.
I think that answers quite a lot of questions for a lot of people that would like to do this, and their biggest challenge is exactly that. So it sounds like you're solving problems for many people in this situation.
100%.
So based on that, thank you so much for the time that you've given us to show us this house, and I'm pretty sure you are happy to share the information of My Student House and how we can contact you and how we can work together. What's going on, Leroy?
How's it? Good, and yourself?
I'm fantastic. Thank you very much. Nice to meet
you.
I'm fantastic. Thank you very much. Nice to meet you.
Good to meet you.
Right.
TJ?
Leroy,
how you doing, brother?
Good.
Good to see you.
All right.
I like the rose.
Good, thank you.
Pink one.
Loving the white shirt.
Muzzie, welcome. And you are through to Productive Realty. I'm sure everybody hears me talking of these guys that I work with that are always doing amazing things for us in terms of managing all of our non-student accommodations.
Yeah.
And these are your buy-to-lets. It could be a block of flats. It could be, a house. And this is the great guy who leads the team. And there's so many people behind him. And I thought let's bring you on and let's have the conversation to understand how the process actually works. And I'm just the guy that just talks about them, but they do the work. They know how they do it. Right. So welcome. Yeah.
Thanks, TJ, and I'm glad you've actually pointed me out to someone who can answer some of the questions in detail. Leroy, lovely to meet you.
Good to meet you, my man.
Good to meet you too.
Good.
So, if you could just tell us a bit more about what Productive Realty actually does on a day-to-day basis.
Okay, so Productive Realty is a property management company,
Right.
in Gauteng. So we manage a lot of landlords and investors' properties in Gauteng.
All right, that's brilliant. So, just a bit of a background for myself. I invest in property in the UK, and there's quite a few people that are considering investing here. One of the challenges that we will have, obviously, is because we're based so far away, the management aspect is something that's such a huge mountain for us. So, can you talk us through what that looks like, if it's something that you guys are open to actually helping us with, and what that looks like, sort of like on a day-to-day?
100%. The management can be tricky, especially if you're in the UK, and that's why we here. Being investors ourselves, so I'm an investor myself,
Right,
own quite a substantial portfolio. We've seen the challenges that we had with other management company, and we said, listen, man, let's start our own management company,
Okay.
right? But we started with our own portfolio,
Right.
and the challenge that we had, we thought let's fix those issues.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
So firstly, what we do is you want to place the right tenant, especially in South Africa. I don't know about you guys. Probably the same, right?
It's similar, bro. Yeah.
You want to place the right tenant. So we put a vetting, criminal checks, fraud checks, credit checks. We want to see that you can afford to pay your rental, your monthly rental. So we got a team in the office that do those checks. Pay slips, bank statements, we go through all of that. Right? We've got a system that does that. And once we've done that, then we place the correct tenant. Because if you place the wrong tenant, you're going to have challenges.
You're going to have challenges, absolutely.
Right?
Yeah, no, that's right. So from our aspect, there are people that want to invest who are already investors like myself. However, there are some people who want to invest who not necessarily are investors. So it's good to sort of like point out the idea that you need to vet your tenants and you need to make sure that you're getting the right people in. Now, even though you've done your vetting and you've got your tenants in based on the vetting, do you still have some challenges with the ones that you've got, or you guys are still pretty good?
Look, for the last financial year, I think we collected 100%.
100%?
100%.
Right. Okay. That is unheard of from our side of the world, by the way.
Look, there has been a challenge, but it's been like a day or two or week. But in the end, it all came in, eh?
Alright, for what we usually go through in the UK, a day or two is not a problem.
Yeah,
right?
So we're fine with that.
We completely.
Look, it does happen every now and again, but we've got our ways that we deal with tenants, especially when placing them already. So yeah, our collection has been.
All right, that's fantastic. So the other challenge that was brought up really by the people that had actually highlighted this is the issue of managing the maintenance. So what does that look like for you guys?
Look, we've got a maintenance team as well.
Right.
So if a tenant has an issue, plumbing, electrical, whatever it is, the issue is, they'll contact Ansi, the office.
Yeah.
And then Ansi will send out our maintenance guy. They'll have a look at it. They'll give us a quote.
Yeah.
If it is something that needs to be fixed immediately, like a leak or electrical issue, then obviously we have to fix it. And then we let the landlord and investor know, listen, this is what needs to be fixed. They give us the go ahead, and our team goes out and they sort that
out as well
quite quickly. Yeah.
That is brilliant. So appreciate you actually pointing that out, because that's one of the challenges that we have. Now, in terms of the investors that are from the outside, now I know you are looking to do the management. You've pointed out the tenants themselves and how you do the vetting, you manage them, and you do the maintenance. Now, the maintenance part of it, the property that you're taking on, if it's a rundown or if it's got problems at the start, the maintenances are higher, right? Do you help with identifying a property that is okay at the start? So just like how you vet a tenant, the property that you're taking on, can you point out at the start if there's any issues that you're probably going to face going forward?
100%. So we do a check on the property as well.
Nice.
With an inspection.
Uh-huh.
Okay, this is the property. This is what's wrong. We let the landlord know.
Yeah.
We also let them know. Listen, we've got a team that if you want to fix these things beforehand,
Right. Okay.
so we highlight these are the issues that we picked up.
Yeah.
Right. And we can send our team out and they can assist you in fixing these things.
Right.
Obviously, give us the costings on it, and the landlord decides.
Yes, go for it.
Yes, go for it, or yes, do this now and do this later, whatever it is. Obviously, the property has to be livable.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're not gonna get tenants, right? So that's what we assist with, is making the property livable.
Yeah.
And then if there is issues going forward, as I said, we've got a team. They're quite affordable because they do quite a lot of work for us.
For you, of course.
Yeah, so they give us the best rates.
Of course, that makes sense. That makes sense. That's really good that you've actually got a starting point of the type of property itself, all the way to the tenants and the management and the maintenance at the end. Now, the final part about it, to just kind of put this to a close, is what does it look like for the investor on the outside in terms of the information and the reports, so to speak, of what the things look like. So for us, we want to know about what the maintenance issues were, how much did they cost. Obviously, there's a management fee that's part of it. So what does that look like? Do you share that information on a monthly basis for the investors?
Yeah, you get a monthly report saying this is how the property performs. These were the maintenance issues.
Right.
So with your rental.
With the rental, all of it as one.
As one. You get your pack every month. This is the performance of your property. This were the maintenance issues. And obviously the main thing, your rent gets paid off to
the rent. Your rent gets paid off. Profit at the bottom. That's what we want.
That's what you want.
So ultimately, a lot of our investors on the outside, they want to get that information gathered together because it's useful for the next loan or the next thing that they need to do. So we need that information sort of packaged. So it's really good that you actually share that report. That's really brilliant.
And we shared, and what happened to other management companies that we saw, because as I said, we investors, we developers ourselves.
Exactly.
So we've seen that, listen, shared in a format that you can go to the banks and obviously buy a second, third, fourth property or refinance this property, whatever it is you want to do with it. So yeah, we do that.
That is really good. That is really good. Thanks for sharing the information from the start all the way to the end. And hopefully a lot of our people will come in, reach out to you and ask more questions if they have any. But this has been brilliant. Appreciate it.
100%. Thanks, Muzzie.
Thank you very much. Hello.
How are you?
I am well, thank you. How are you?
Faith.
Nice to meet you, Faith.
Hi, TJ.
I'm good, and you?
Well, thank you for your keys.
All right.
Oh, hello, hello.
Good.
How are you guys?
Hello. Nice
Thank
to
you
meet
so
you.
much for coming.
Thank you very much for inviting
I hear you're
us.
coming all the way from the UK?
Yes, we are from the cold weather to come to the sun.
I can see you're not even wearing a jersey.
Yes, I haven't done this
And
for a long
welcome to
time.
PKM, man.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. You can
Appreciate
take
it.
a seat.
Thank you.
Muzzie, it is great seeing you in South Africa. Our relationship has spanned over the years where we've been talking about, opportunities here, opportunities there. And I'm excited that you are actually coming through and you're meeting one of the key persons that ensures that all of our deals are moving in secure, safely, and they are done in a legal way. And this is Phateka. So, Muzzie, I just want to explain to you that at the TJ tribe, there are not so many opportunities that go by without having to come to this office. It can be a JV, the contracts are written within this office. It can be just buying a property, it is done within this office. Our friends who are friends of the tribe who are overseas, some of them, they're wanting to do structure their businesses correctly, be it is setting up a trust, or even just creating a company. All of those things have been happening within this office. So you are in good hands today.
Thank you very much, TJ. Really appreciate that. And thank you, Phateka, for the time that you've offered to come and speak to us at the moment about investing in property and real estate in South Africa. So just a quick brief, as you may have already been told, I invest in property in the UK, and we're looking to expand and actually invest further out, specifically in South Africa. And we just want to have a better understanding of how the processes work and what it is that we need to look out for in terms of how to invest, how does that work, and how can we potentially work with other people who can help us with things that we can't do because we're so far away. So speaking to you today, just want to have a better understanding of what it is that you can help with, and if you can actually give us some detail about how the process works on a legal aspect. So to start with, if you're okay with it, could you just give us information about what it is that you do?
I understand in your side that you have attorneys, meaning each party has got his or her own attorney. Here in South Africa, you've got one attorney who does the transfer. And if you are not paying the property via a bond, meaning if you are not applying for finance, then there will be only that attorney. Otherwise, if you are not paying cash, you are applying for finance, then the bank where you are receiving the finance will then and appoint an attorney that will then register your bond. So meaning now your invoice will be from the attorney that does the transfer to your name, and the second one will be the attorney that registers the bond in your name. Now, what happens in South Africa when you purchase a property is that the seller is the one who has the right to appoint or to choose an attorney. So meaning as a buyer, you don't have that right to choose an attorney to transfer the property to your name. In South Africa, the seller is the one who has the right. Now, what I usually advise property investors is that at the very, very beginning, when you identify a potential property or a potential investment property, you need to negotiate, especially if there's an agent, negotiate with the agent that you want to use your own attorney, someone that you're comfortable, especially if you're going to pay cash, because you don't want to pay your cash to someone you don't know. So you need to pay your cash to your own attorney, meaning the attorney that you know and you trust.
Okay, brilliant. Thank you for sharing that information. Could you just give us a bit of information about the process then? So at the point that we purchase the property, let's say we've actually agreed a sale with the vendor and we want to buy it. At what point do you guys come in on a legal aspect, and what does that actually entail all the way in terms of A to Z on the legal aspect? What we're sort of concerned about is trying to make sure that everything is done legally. The last thing we would want as people that are outside of the country is to be told that you now got the set of keys, but there's a point somewhere that was missed, or there's a step that was missed on a legal aspect. So therefore, you then have issues, or the property isn't really yours, or there's someone else who's, attached to that property that you didn't know about because we don't understand the legal aspects, or there's extra taxes that you now have to pay because there's certain things that you didn't know about. So could you just talk us through the A to Z of what it is that we need to look out for and what it is that you usually do for it?
In terms of the process, so that is the change of ownership process. So what happens is that you will obviously identify the assets and you show interest in the asset. Now you want to purchase the asset. Now, depending on whether there is an agent or there is no agent, okay? Now, if there is an agent, obviously the agent will prepare a sale agreement for you. Or if there is no agent, then you need to get an attorney to prepare that sale agreement for you. But the most important part then, whether the the sale agreement is prepared by the agent or by your attorney, the most important is for you to be able to understand this contract. So I usually recommend that before you sign this sale agreement, they call it an offer to purchase. Before you sign this offer to purchase, or before you offer to purchase this property, please make sure you understand the terms of this offer to purchase so that you are not just offering on something you don't know. Ne? So then in that case, it means at that stage, you now have negotiated. Let's say if you were lucky, you negotiated with the seller, you're going to use your own attorney. Then what we then offer is that if we are, in any case, even if we are not appointed, if you feel that, you know what, I need to understand this agreement, then in this agreement, you need to share it with your trusted attorney, or you can share it with me if I am your trusted attorney. So you can send it to me, then we can go through it together, because I don't read it alone. I want to read it with you so that you can then understand the terms and the conditions in this contract, and also advising you what sort of documents you need to request up front from the seller, so that you should see, for example, one most important document is the title deed. That is the title deed of the specific property, so that we can see how this title deed can be, we can see the conditions in this title deed, so that then we should know, because the most important, especially if you're a property investor, is to ensure that you are purchasing the property that you want to use. For example, your why to buy. Why are you buying this property? So we need to understand, so that then the title deed conditions to speak to that, because most importantly, you are buying this property for income generating activities, for example, or you want to let's say you want to subdivide and build something, or is already built and you want to renovate, all those nitty-gritties, or we need to discuss those things before you sign this contract, because it's very much important to ensure that any terms you need, those terms are actually in the contract. So the most important is that document. We need to see this offer to purchase, or it's called a sale agreement, so that we put everything that you need in this agreement so that it protects you.
Right. Interesting. Thank you very much for sharing that information. It seems like your processes in terms of the legal aspects are really closely similar to the ones that we have in the UK. The difference being, obviously, a major point that you highlighted there about legal representation. So for us in the UK, the buyer and the seller both have independent legal representation, and it's a legal requirement for each of them to have it. And obviously, from what you've just shared, it's only the seller who has that independent legal representation, and they can choose whether you can have it or not. It's quite interesting to hear that. So how do we actually go about that to try to make sure that as the buyer, I have someone who can legally look out for me and represent my interests and make sure that the purchase that I'm going for is fully covered? Can you just quickly talk through that process for us? Thank you.
In South Africa, you as a buyer of the property, you definitely do not have that right, but that right is negotiated. So you can negotiate that right with the seller, so that the seller can say yes or no. And if the seller says no, obviously it means you have to appoint your own attorney who can be able to assist you in terms of receiving your purchase price if you are paying cash, and then ensuring that guarantees are issued, ensuring that your documents are signed, ensuring that the whole process actually runs smoothly, and that you as a buyer, you are protected. Because the most important part, which is why sellers have got this right, is because someone has to protect their right. So then the sellers sometimes they don't feel comfortable, because should there be a dispute between the seller and the buyer, then the attorney needs to choose a side. So meaning I need to choose choose who I represent. I can't represent both parties when there's a dispute. So that is why most sellers are not comfortable. Not to say they are not comfortable. That is why sellers have got this right to appoint an attorney. So appointing an attorney, then it means that their interest as sellers is protected. Now, for your own interest as a buyer or investor, it must also be protected by ensuring that you appoint your own attorney. That own attorney then will be the one who oversees the whole process and ensuring that your right as a buyer of the property or investor, then it is protected. Ne? So we need to ensure that you actually get in touch with someone that you know, someone that you trust.
Right, I see. I understand. So we can still appoint a legal representative to oversee the process and sort of look out for our interests, but they can't be part of the final sign off. So, okay, so we can still get someone to actually cover for that. Appreciate you sharing that information. So, finally, then, just to put this to a close, with all of the information that you've shared, and I know some of the people that are in the UK that are looking to invest are already investors, so they have a good understanding of some of the things that we have talked about today. Now, there are some who have been saving up some money for a long time. They're working in a certain job and they're interested in investing back home, so to speak, and South Africa being one of the homes. But with the stuff that we've spoken about, it may come across really complicated for them because it's not something that they've been exposed to before. Are these services that you particularly can actually help people with who are outside of the country?
Yes, these are the services that I can assist people with, because property investors, obviously, they don't know much about some of the South African laws. That is why then in offering this service, we would love to engage with the property investor at the time when they identify their asset, so that then we can walk the journey together, and ensuring that the negotiation in terms of appointing an attorney is there. We obviously back you up and advise on how to negotiate. And then again, if the seller says yes, and then we then carry on to assist in terms of receiving your cash funds. We are obviously obligated in terms of our legal practice council, that we need to receive your funds as a client and invest it for you. So we can't keep it in G for mahala. So we need to invest it for you so that it can earn interest for you. And then whenever then the funds are needed to pay to the seller, once the process is done, then it gets done. So then in that case, it means what will happen is once we receive the sale agreement, let's say all of the negotiations are done and now the contract is signed. Once that contract is signed, it means that we then take over. In taking over, then obviously we'll receive your cash, we'll receive your FICA documents, we'll receive everything else. And then with your cash specifically, we then have to invest it for you. Cannot sit in our trust account in carrying interest for our legal practice counsel. We have to invest it so that that interest belongs to you. And then we know that once the process is at the end, then the guarantees have already been issued so that the cash can be paid to the seller's attorney, or it can be paid to the seller once the process is complete. Yes, we offer that service, and we really love to actually love working with property investors, but we love to be engaged in this process at the very beginning so that we don't get to a process where there's already issues. So at the moment where you'd identify the property, then that's when then we need to get in, and then we need to talk about the contract. We need to talk about the reasoning behind you buying this property. We need to talk about what is it that you want to see in this property, what is the due diligence conditions that you want to put in the contract. We need to know the cash amount, when do you think it will be available, because all of those things are very much important in the contract, so that then when we present it to the seller for signature, at least we know that you are comfortable. So that is the service we offer to all our property investors. And then also obviously discussing the ownership. So how do you want to own this property? Is it in your name? Is it in your company? Is it in your trust? So all of those things are very much important to be discussed at the very, very, very beginning
There
of
are
the
some
negotiation
services that you
stages.
can provide and actually help us with in situations like these. Thank you ever so much for the time that you gave us to share this information. This has been absolutely brilliant. And I'm sure your contact details will be shared as well for people to be aware of where to get you and where to find you. Thank you very much, Phateka.